But what is a Jew in the ancient world? We may see Paul's letters as part of the study of early Christianity. They are, after all, the earliest texts within a Christian testament. But we could also say that the study of Paul's letters will lead us to a better understanding of Judaism in the ancient world. Even today, we know that the question of who is a Jew is a complicated one. To oversimplify, we could say that Jews often fall into one of three categories: Orthodox, Reformed, and Conservative. It's equally complicated, frankly, to try to define other religious identities. Take the example of Christianity. There are Orthodox, Roman Catholic, and Protestants, but within each of these categories there are many, many branches. In antiquity, too, it was hard to say precisely what a Jew was. To quote scholar Shia Cohen's excellent book, The Beginnings of Jewishness, who was a Jew in antiquity? How is Jewishness defined? In their minds and actions, the Jews erected a boundary between themselves and the rest of humanity, the non-Jews or Gentiles, but the boundary was always crossable and not always clearly marked. Cohen begins his book by giving a hypothetical example: a Gentile who converts to Judaism in 80 CE. Would the local Jewish community have accepted him? Would the city's government allow that person to enjoy privileges traditionally extended to Jews, such as their right to follow the laws of their ancestors? Would the person be taxed, as Jews were after the wars with Rome that concluded with the destruction of the temple in 70 CE? Cohen concludes, there's no reason to assume that all these jurisdictions would necessarily have reached identical conclusions in every case. Even the word Jew can give us pause. In Greek, it's Judaios, a term that's first of all an ethnic or geographical marker. It means from Judea. Josephus dates this term to the time of Nehemiah, that is, the time after the return of the Jews from Babylon in the 5th century BCE. Josephus writes, Judaioi is the name they are called by from the day that they came up from Babylon, which is taken from the tribe of Judah, which came first to these places, and thence both they and the country gained that appellation. Later, the term came to be applied to people outside the area of Judea. A Judaios, a Jew, for example, in Alexandria, Egypt. And it even came to be a category. Judaismos, for example, may be best translated Jewishness, a term that Paul uses to talk about his life in Judaism in Galatians. Of the terms that the letters of Paul use to talk about what we might call Jews or Judaism, Judaios, or its plural Judaioi, is the primary word that's used, compared to, say, Hebrew or Israelite. Given the history of the term Judaios as an ethnic geographical definition that came to mean more, and given the fact that religious identity is still always contested, for example, you might have heard comments like a true Muslim would never do that, or a real Christian always reads the Bible in a certain way. Given these things, we shouldn't be surprised that Judaism in the 1st century CE was quite diverse.